Also have to say a huge thank you to Edinburgh Watch Company for partnering with the SMRC, sponsoring this event here, the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons Race 2 of the day for them, and their final race of the day for them just about to get underway. The cars being made ready by the stewards at the back of the grid there. And once that green flag flies, we can see actually that looks like, is that Alistair Bapty having to get drawn back into the pit lane there? That might have been Alistair, or it might have been the Lotus Elan. We couldn't quite see from that angle there, but certainly one of the cars withdrawn to pit lane from the grid there. The green flag flies though, so we're ready to go racing then for the final race of the afternoon for the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons. The lights come on the gantry bridge, the engines begin to rev, and it's going to be John Kinmont off from the start alongside Andrew Graham. But look at the Triumph, the Morgan just behind of Elliot Patterson in the 73, trying to make hay while the sun shines here. Maybe not the best term of phrase to use here at Knockhill, where it's looking decidedly damp and drizzly out there. But you saw the Volkswagen Golf with Charlie Cope making an excellent start there, getting himself all the way up into third position as well. And that Golf GTI really shown that it can mix it with the best of them, Malcolm.
Yeah, excellent traction there, and an excellent manoeuvring too down into the first corner. He's still keeping ahead. The front wheel drive traction to his advantage where there's a bit of dampness about, and as you mentioned, the start, Alistair Bapty has failed to continue. He was the car going into pit lane at the beginning.
Yeah, it's a difficult pill to swallow, but again, this season I think for Alistair, he'd already written it off as a voyage of discovery with this new car, missing out on the first round, and basically using the season to get to grips with the new car here. The window wipers ablaze though on almost all of the cars here. You can see the Morgan 8 in the background there of Elliot Patterson onto the back of that, quite frankly, beautiful looking TVR Griffith there of Kenny Brown. But down into the corner then is the number 17, the BMW there, just making its way around. For me, that evokes a lot of memories of BTCC in the early 90s there, the likes of Steve Soper, and listen to the old Murray Walker on the commentary on that.
Yeah, similar livery and very evocative of that period, as you say. So that's Patterson 73 in the Morgan coming through, pursued by the BMW. See them again, and Craig Houston next up, just to the rear of the BMW in his Lotus XL. It's another smart combination of the open tops with Brown and Patterson really close to each other, and as they continue their battle, Charlie Cope really doing well to keep up with Andy Graham's much more powerful TR78, and sadly Philip Russell again in his BMW just at the end of that shot, the bonnet coming loose again, so I'm afraid Philip Russell will need to retire.
Yeah, that in fact, actually, that reminds me, I thought it was maybe a slippery surface flag that we saw last time round. It could have actually been the black and orange meatball flag for a mechanical failure, and that's very likely what it is with that BMW. But it'll be of no surprise to anyone whatsoever to see John Kinmont, as we've got 10 laps left to go here, clearing off into the sunset, 2.1 seconds ahead of Andrew Graham. Charlie Cope in third place, as we said, singing his praises in that Volkswagen Golf GTI. Kenneth Brown in fourth position, fifth place for Elliot Patterson, Philip Russell in sixth, Craig Houston currently in seventh, Andrew Kinmont in eighth, Nicky Dixon in ninth position. Great result so far for Nicky in that plucky little Lotus Cortina Mark 1. Bruce Mitchell as a guest in 10th position, and as said, I mean, great to see Bruce back in the championship. Certainly when I used to be on the commentary at Knockhill, Bruce was one of the biggest smiles that you'd see in the paddock outside of the car.
Yes, and you see him coming into shot there in the third of the three, and close up there, that's the Yellow Lotus Europa, Bruce Mitchell, Dixon's Cortina ahead of him, and to the front of that group, the Rover Vitesse of Adam Kinmond, and the three of them really close together, and yep, slight lift off the track there of the Cortina, evocative of the period racers of the 60s, and yep, similar stance of the Rover as it comes down the chicane. Yeah.
And the thing is, as well, Malcolm, as well, just to touch on that that car there that we're seeing, the 69 of Nicky Dixon. Now, again, it looks like it's just your quintessential classic old car, but the thing is that, you know, back in the day, these things were raced so hard.
Yes, very much the car of 60s, mid 60s with the Mark 1 Cortinas, and they're still very popular in historic racing today. And in the next shot we see Bruce Mitchell's moved his Europa ahead of the Cortina, right on the tail now of the Rover Vitesse, and it's close into the next corner, and that shot moves on to Elliot Patterson in the Morgan taking a run around the side. No, I was wrong earlier. Philip Russell has not retired. He's now bonnetless. So,
I was about to say, I think his bonnet is retired from the race there, Malcolm.
Yeah, I maybe saved him making the stop. Graham getting a bit closer to John Kinmond this time. It's in a gap extreme of the Golf, and sadly Michael Longstaff's MG Midget has come into the gravel, and Bruce Mitchell's in the gravel. So
I'm wondering, Malcolm, if the conditions on the track have changed massively, because that's two cars that we've had affected in the space of a lap here, and well, I'm not sure that's the most appropriate way to get back on track, but we'll ignore that nonetheless. I mean, that's the only explanation. You can hear the rain on the cameras. That has to mean that the track is now getting very greasy indeed here, and that'll be why Kinmond is struggling, because he's got all the power that he wants, but that thing weighs an absolute ton, and that means Andrew Graham and these two, just to clarify, these two are in the same class. It's absolutely teaming it down.
Yeah, it's taking a sudden turn for the worst, and we see in shot there Ian Mitchell in his Nova with Michael Anderson in the red Fiesta coming up. Good to see Michael have a race in this particular round. He had struggled and couldn't complete the first race, so good to see him returning. Yeah,
it certainly is. As we see, the number 5 of Michael Longstaff was running second to that MG Midget in the A class, just behind Ian Mitchell. Now, I'm seeing that we've got double waved yellows here now. I wonder if we've got a safety car here. Yeah. My timing screen hasn't updated just as of yet. In fact, there we go. Safety car is out. And yeah, you can probably understand why with this massive quick change of condition. But also, we've got a couple of cars there, and well, we've got one car that's remaining there at probably a precarious position. If one car can go off, another one can follow it.
Yeah, it's dangerous. It will have to be recovered in order that the race would continue. Hopefully, there's enough time to have that done and the race to continue at least to a racing conclusion and not conclude under the safety car. But time will tell whether that actually is possible or not.
I've got to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, who are quite likely home watching this on YouTube, cozied up with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. We're in our nice little commentary box here. I do feel a little bit guilty for our cameramen and our poor marshals out there, because you can hear it absolutely tipping down here at Knockhill, and that has a massive effect on these cars, on these drivers as well, because you know they're obviously going to be on a wide range of different tyres on these different cars, and you can see already how much water is starting to lay there on the track. And this is the peculiar thing about Knockhill, is the fact that we'll have this outburst of rain that'll last maybe say 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and then suddenly it's beautiful sunshine for the rest of the day.
Yeah, the old adage of 4 seasons in a day isn't lost upon people who've come here for even once. You could see it here, but for people who've come for years, yeah, they're well used to that. And for the likes of Charlie Cope there in third place, unfortunately the advantage he had on the 2 more powerful cars behind him has been lost. But It's not to say that they'll be able to use that power at the time of the restart. We also have the situation as far as the safety car's concerned. When they do restart, Bruce Mitchell is out of position. He's 1 lap down at least on the white Golf there that you see going round. How the BMW just coming down the hill continues without its bonnet with all this rain going in might be questionable too. But yeah, most cars still running, and other than the retire early of Alistair Bapty and the stricken MG midget of Michael Longstaff.
Yeah, so the car's still under safety car conditions while the car gets recovered from the gravel there. You can see that should be quite a reasonably fast process, because I would imagine as soon as they can pull that car out, he'll be able to get going under his own strength there. Although it's going to be a thoroughly miserable Michael Longstaff having to stand out there in the race suit in these wet conditions there. That thing will be like an absolute sponge, but the safety car will pull the cars through and get them going. The other point here then from the safety car restart then, Malcolm, is the fact that I've got to be honest, I really fancy Andrew Graham's chances on this. We saw Kinman starting to maybe struggle a little bit with the traction as these conditions change. And this is a wet track now. This is 100%. It's not just damp, it's not greasy, it's a full wet track here that we've got. Andrew Graham just looked like he had a little bit more in terms of traction, in terms of a little bit more finesse in these conditions.
Yeah, he's maybe going to catch up quickly on the Rover, as it will get just obviously ahead of him when the restart comes. But yeah, it's certainly a complication that John Kinman would not have wanted, but for the entertainment for the spectators. The damp spectators in person, or the ones online, yeah, it adds a little variety. All we can hope is that the recovery is quick and the period of time to go racing is a reasonable length.
Well, what we saw from the last race with the minis was that the laps got added back on. I believe we're quite flexible with our time today. We do have a little bit in the bank. In fact, this is Race Control's fault, because they were like, oh, well, we're just going to get through the races today. We're going to be on time and everything. Of course, didn't touch a desk, didn't touch anything of any wood whatsoever. And well, here we are. But again, it looked like a relatively minor excursion for Michael Longstaff. So as you say, hopefully it's going to be a very quick recovery for that car as well. The other point as well is the fact that where we saw John Kinman roaring off into the sunset and from all the other class cars, I think given that across the board we're going to be likely seeing lap times fall off by about, 10 to 15 seconds per lap. Malcolm, you can see the same pictures that I am here. That it looks like that track is, well, as I thought Michael Longstaff might have been a way to reverse into the safety car there, but there's a lot of standing water already on that track.
Yeah, it's difficult for all to proceed round both quickly and safely, but I'm sure they'll all do their best to charge to the end in a safe manner. Yeah, Michael Longstaff's car now on track with the Land Rover still in place. I thought the car was moving under its own steam, but maybe that's been decided not to be the way to go.
Yeah.
So it's time maybe to have a look at how the classes are going with the individual cars further down the race. We've not had a chance to view as much of them. I don't see the Fiat of Paul Bowers there. He was running well in Class A earlier, so he appears to have gone off as well, retired perhaps. Didn't see him anywhere on
he's
track.
He's still showing as on the same. No, he's not actually. He's about 4 laps down. So yeah, he's definitely retired from the race as well. Class A then led by the Vauxhall Nova of Ian Mitchell. Class B currently Charlie Cope that is in the lead of that class. Kenneth Brown in the lead of Class C. Class D is Elliot Patterson. Class E is John Kinman's, and then with the XR2s you've got Duncan O'Neill in the lead of that one, and then at the lead of the guest it's a change because Andrew McGregor in the MX5 has taken to the lead of the guest right now. One final point is I would imagine we'll probably go we might have the safety car lights going off on this lap by. John Kinman's driving style could be best described as flamboyant in dry conditions. I think that it's going to be an extra little bit of something going on in these wet conditions for him, because that's going to be a very difficult car to manage.
Yeah, it'll certainly be lively. He's had the ability to try and warm tyres up a bit, as you see some drivers weaving around to try and cover the maximum amount of distance that they can when they're going at safety car pace in order to keep heat in the tyres, which is important for the time of the restart. Drivers here would have started on their either normal tyre, if I can call it that, which would be a tyre they use all the time, and wouldn't have wet weather tyres. Some of them do switch tyres in wet weather. Some may run with the same ones, just depending on what favours them and their car and their budget. But they're all going to be on their original dry setup, and it's a bit tricky for them to work out just how quickly they can go on the restart to keep ahead without doing anything that's going to jeopardise their position on the track.
Well, we are going to get the restart here this lap. You saw the safety car lights were out as it came down through the hill over the chicane then, and the cars precariously make their way round the remainder of the lap here, and away we go then. Wet and Wild racing here resumes at Knockhill. It's the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloons, sponsored by the Edinburgh Watch Company. John Kinman and Andrew Graham just leaving the rest of the field. I don't think the rest of the field had any idea that the safety car was in there, but John Kinman there showboating it out of the corner there. Huge power slide, tail end kicks out in style, but Andrew Graham not anywhere near as close as I thought he was going to be.
No, not quite. It all comes down in a way to how quickly a run the leading car gets, which is their advantage to be ahead. The cars further back would have been slightly restricted depending on the pace of Bruce Mitchell, because they wouldn't be able to overtake until they crossed the start-finish line, and he was there. But yeah, as you say, the big Rover is slip-sliding about. Andrew Graham doing very well to keep up behind him, but yeah, it's a very tricky track to be driving.
Yeah, I mean, no word of a lie. We're seeing the same pictures as you are at home, and a little bit surprised at the volume of water that has come down in the past 5-10 minutes or so. This has been a super sudden rain shower that has just come down here, and it is absolutely taming it down. The other end of the track here, not so bad at the start-finish straight here, but on the brakes into the hairpin there, you can see the massive water having to be displaced by these tyres here. Drivers obviously would have been aware of the forecast of mixed conditions, but I certainly wasn't expecting this, and these are some of the trickiest conditions I think I've had to watch these drivers actually take part in just now. As you see, John Kinman's making his way through here, and that is a little bit of a wiggle there from Andrew Graham. Yeah. He has not enjoyed these conditions. In fact, that was the Volkswagen in the background. That was our Golf with Charlie Cope that was looking very, very close. Yeah, the front wheel drive traction of the Golf, certainly an advantage in these conditions compared to the TR7 V8's high power, and we see there 17. That's Philip Russell coming up to the rear of Kenny Brown's TVR, and the BMW seems a little more sure-footed as it comes through there. It'll be interesting to see what the power is like of the two of them as they come down the straight, and who's in first. Yep, TVR still there, and in camera the green TR7 V8 Andrew Graham, the white Golf of Charlie Cope, and yeah, the brown TVR 173 with the BMW almost latched to the rear, but TVR keeps ahead and gets decent traction as it exhibits onto the back straight. Yeah, enjoying the fact that we're able to see some of the cars a little bit further down as well here, because we don't, sometimes we don't get a chance to see many of the cars outside the top three, but this is for fourth and fifth position. But of course, classes are the complete game changer for this, because when you take that into account, these are two actual class leaders. This is Kenny Brown in the 173, who's leading Class C, and then Elliot Patterson, who's leading Class D as well. So they're fighting each other on the track, but realistically they're not fighting for points.
Yeah, this is often the thing to explain to people, that you do get differentials in cars, but it doesn't necessarily mean that people aren't going to win trophies and maybe be even the overall champion. And again, the TVR 173 into the hairpin, slightly further ahead of the BMW this time. And up ahead of them, the white Golf disappears into the distance. Charlie Cope keeping on the rear of Andy Graham's TR7 V8.
Do you know, I've just realised I've been talking absolute nonsense there, because of course the 173 is Kenny Brown. The BMW is of course Philip Russell in the 17. So Philip's already a lap down anyway. So
Adam Kinman, Rover Vitesse, overcooks it a little into the hairpin, and Nicky Dixon comes up on the inside. And overcooked it as well into the hairpin has been Craig Houston, number 91 in the Lotus XL. He was going very well there. He was second in his class, and just as he tries to get out, we see Colin Calder's Lotus Elan and Ian Mitchell in the Nova with another Mitchell, Bruce Mitchell's Europa coming down. So yeah, poor Craig, he's got to wait on a lengthy stream of cars before he can get back onto the track.
And this is the last lap as well that we've just gone on to. In fact, red flag comes out. That's it. The race is done and dusted. That Marshall obviously in a very unenviable position there. So there we go. John Kinman takes the honours then from Andrew Graham. Charlie Cope gets a fantastic third place in that Volkswagen Golf there. Kenneth Brown in fourth position. Elliot Patterson in fifth position. Craig Houston will finish in sixth. Adam Kinman will finish in seventh. And eighth position will be Nicky Dixon. Ninth for Andrew McGregor, and 10th showing is Michael Anderson. So red flag comes out. That ends our Scottish Classics Sports and Saloons racing. To be honest with you, I think it's safe to say, Malcolm, that they'll be looking forward to getting out the car, getting a cuppa, and maybe getting a little bit of toast after that.
Yes, get themselves dried out, I'm sure. Particularly the people in the open cars, yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah, of course, because we've got the likes of the TVR Griffith of Kenny Brown and MX5 that are on there as well. So yeah, we've got to say a huge thank you to Malcolm Smith for joining us in the commentary box yet again for that one. I look forward to seeing you. Of course, we've got the away round to the Classics away down to the away round next month.
Oh, I may be. I'm still not sure about that. I'll see how it goes.
Good stuff. Good
Thanks
stuff.
again.
Well, there we go then. Thanks very much then to Malcolm Smith for joining me on the commentary for the Classic Sports and Saloons here, sponsored by Edinburgh Watch Company. A slightly wet and drizzly end to the tidings there, and we will try and see if we can have a chat with the drivers if they're over in the holding area. However, I think our camera team have got a lot of work cut out for them, because they're going to be wanting to get home and get a cup of tea after the end of that one. Just to take you through the classes as well then. Class A is going to be Ian Mitchell taking that one. Class B, Charlie Cope. Class C is going to be Kenneth Brown. Class D is Elliot Patterson. Class E is John Kinman. The XR2 class is going to be Duncan O'Neill, and then the guest class goes to Andrew McGregor. As we see, a car off on the inside there. I think that is into just before Duffus. Oh no, that's just before the chicane. So that is the number 5 of Michael Longstaff after he was recovered there. So he's making his way from behind the hoardings where the marshals are. So, in just a couple of minutes' time, we're going to head down to the holding area where we should have our intrepid reporter Anthony ready to have a chat with some of the drivers. Up next, though, it's going to be a very, very different affair. We've got the Scottish Fiesta STs out on track. They're going to be enjoying these conditions when they do so. So, again, we're just waiting to see if we can have a chat with some of the drivers from the Classic Sports and Saloons. As I said, the Fiesta STs are up next. Then we have the Scottish Mini Cooper Cup for the final conglomerated race of them today. So that'll be the Mini Coopers and the Mini Cooper S's that are out in that. That's the, of course, the faster R53 cars. And then we have an event that I've kept this under wraps, I hope, but I'm genuinely so excited for. I have been banging on to the SMRC to do an endurance race. In fact, even to Knockhill themselves, just to run an endurance race, get a C1 endurance race up here in Scotland. That was where I cut my teeth. Back in 2018 was the C1s at Silverstone 24, and yeah, I got the taste for it, and it is going to be a fantastic 90-minute race. But we can see that down in pit lane we've got some live pictures of some of the drivers getting out of their cars, so hopefully in a couple of minutes we'll have Ant down there to have a chat with us. And I'm going to apologise in advance, ladies and gentlemen, for any video breakup, because obviously the changing conditions do play havoc with our system that are on there. That is going to be doing that. So here we go then, the drivers making their way down. In just a second, we'll have the rather nimble Anthony to have a chat with the drivers there. He's obviously getting the inside scoop. This is the bit that I used to love when I was doing the commentary here at Knockhill, having a chat with the driver. They'd come out and you'd think, oh my God, that must have been amazing. And they're just like, yeah, it was fine. It was an okay race. Yeah. You know, got better stuff that I could be doing on a Sunday. But right, let's see if we can head down into to pit lane where Anthony has at least one of our drivers.
Yeah, that's right, Dave. I'm here with John Kimmon. Another great win as well. You went absolutely flying. You were sideways everywhere. You enjoyed that, didn't you?
It was really slippy. So after the safety car, so it was really difficult to judge how sideways to let it go. I thought it was maybe better to rein it in a little and not risk another safety car or going off and making a mess. So, but yeah, it's really changeable. You know, with that amount of water since we left, you know, it was pretty much dry when we took the start, and then fairly torrential there during the mid sections of the race. So yeah, really tricky to work out what, you know. And I'm the sort of first to find out, especially after the safety car, you know, and then the track hasn't been driven on for a bit, and then we're unleashed onto it, so it's my job to find out what grip there is, if any.
Is that your job, is it? So do you practice those power slides?
No, years from not really having the best setup and you know, being stuck further back the pack. It's probably where I practiced messing around like that, but I shouldn't really do it at the front, I think.
Yeah, and talk us through the reverse track. It's a bit hellish going into that hairpin first corner. But maybe not for you.
Well, you know, it's good and bad. The downhill bit, gravity helps the larger cars, so you're not forcing them up the hill anymore. Gravity's helping you pull them down the hill. But then the next problem is, can you stop it for the hairpin? And that's the opportunity for others to overtake. So you might have somebody coming down the inside who's maybe outbraked themselves. So you've always got to be looking in the mirrors for any action coming upon you at the hairpin. And it's, you know, you're going a bit faster in than you do the other way around. So there's always a tendency that you might overrun on the way out and clip the grass, you know, or not make a clean exit from it.
Yeah, so there's a lot to think about, isn't it? Well, you've come away 2 wins out of 2 and also driver of the day. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Lovely. And I think I've got our championship leader here as well. So let's have a quick chat. Beautiful looking Golf leading the championship out in the rain. How was that for you? Lovely, wasn't it?
Actually, when it started raining, I was pleased. It's the first time I've ever ran these different tyres in the rain, and the grip was phenomenal. I was really enjoying it. I had no hairy moments, and although the brakes, it's new brakes for this weekend, so it's probably not the best weekend to have new brakes, but it was going great. I really enjoyed it, yeah.
Yeah, and important for the points halfway through the season, go for the championship.
Well, that's it. I was chasing the TR right in front of me, and then I thought, no, just be careful, just make sure you get it home, and that was an important thing, yeah.
Well, you've done it, so go away and enjoy it. Congratulations.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Cheers.